How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Rads. Let's talk today Nottingham Forest and transfers, of course. The most important week when it comes to that subject, with it being deadline day on Friday. So stay tuned to everything that's going to be going on at the club in that time. Of course, we've got a game before then in the League Cup against Newcastle. And just a pre-warning to you all, I will be doing a deadline day live stream on Friday. I tend to do this every deadline day that comes up. So stay tuned to that. I'll be getting a few guests on. It'll be in the evening. I'm not entirely sure what time, maybe 7, 8 o'clock sort of region. So stay tuned to that. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be good talking all things Forest, particularly, of course, our transfer business. We talk about rumours, though. We have actually signed a player in the last few days that I've not mentioned previously, and that is David Carmo from Porto, a centre-back who is now immediately on loan at Olympiacos. I don't like that policy of us doing that. I never like it, to be honest, because there's a good chance they may not even play for us. I have a feeling that Carmo may actually play for us in the future, because a lot of people are speculating that he's going to be like the future heir to Murillo, because he plays in the same role and side as Murillo in defence. 25 years of age, 28 games for Porto, 20 games for Olympiacos. So no, he hasn't played like a load of games or anything, which is interesting. 5-year deal and 11 million euros apparently, this one. So yeah, I've not really got anything else to say because we're not going to see him for at least a year. Please, of course, if you could help me out here and subscribe to the channel, like the video. It goes a very long way in terms of, well, so many things. So please do that. So much content coming up this week in terms of transfers. And of course, we've got 2 games as well. So stay tuned to it all. So last week I spoke to you about Eddie Nketiah. That's now off. He's going to be going to Crystal Palace instead, which is probably more practical for him, leaving Arsenal. And I was quite keen on it at the time, but looking back, in a way, I'm actually quite relieved, because some people were saying, okay, you know, he's Premier League level and that, but he's not been a consistent #1 striker where he scored 10 plus goals in a season. And I actually agree with that. I think we needed somebody maybe a bit more prolific. So in a way, maybe it's a blessing, and it seems to be more like his wages that were an issue, which I had a feeling would have been an issue when it first came up. Obviously, there's another player that we've been linked with for even longer than Eddie Nketiah, and this is Santiago Gimenez. This has been a real saga. This now looks like it's not going to happen either. A few days ago, it looked like he was on the brink of joining us. He'd agreed terms, apparently, and that's pretty suspect, because apparently he's now rejected the move because he's not convinced by us. So I don't know which one's true, but there's an awful lot going on with that deal, and I have a feeling that we're going to give up on it, hence why we're now being linked with about 50 of the strikers available. So this Gimenez deal may not happen anymore, which is a bit disappointing, because I mean, he looks like a prolific goal scorer, okay, in the Eredivisie. You can't entirely read too much into it, but yeah, we clearly wanted him, and he clearly was our #1 target. Maybe he may still end up coming, but right now it's looking quite unlikely. We've had John Percy from the Telegraph rule it out, but then we haven't got Fabrizio Romano saying anything on it, so it's all a bit up in the air, but I think it's pretty much, you know, over that one. So what next in attack? Let's talk about Yoane Wissa. I've probably said that wrong somehow, but please just ignore that. You know who I mean, because there's a graphic on screen right now. Apparently Forest, as of the day that I'm recording this, have bid 15 million, and that has been rejected by Brentford, which I'm not entirely surprised, because they're going to be probably losing Ivan Toney. He's been linked with Chelsea as of very recently, and I don't know why they'd want to sell Wissa. There's no reason why they'd want to sell him. It's Wissa, isn't it? It's Wissa. I think it's Wissa. He's been at Brentford for 3 seasons and he scored 7 plus goals every time. 12 goals last season, especially in the absence of Ivan Toney. He's a winger, but he also can play and has played a lot of games as a centre forward. So I don't know why we'd be signing him as a winger. I think we're signing him to be a striker, or at least give us another natural option to play there, and can also cover the wing as well. So that might be our thinking there. Definitely Premier League proven. So I would absolutely take this one. He's not the same sort of player as Gimenez or Nketiah, really, but I wouldn't mind it at all. I'm not sure how likely it is. I think Brentford are going to want a lot for him, more than 15 million. So I think it's an interesting one that's developing quite late. I think any of these now, though, to be honest, are bordering on panic buys because we missed out on our top target less than a week before the deadline closes, and well, we're now being linked with Wissa and 3 other strikers. Another one is Pedro from Flamengo, a much more unknown quantity in terms of English football. He's older than Wissa and played a lot of games for Flamengo, nearly 260 matches and 131 goals. So prolific, no doubt about it. Apparently this one would cost around about 18 million. It's a little bit of a unknown price tag, really. Not as much, I think, as Wissa would cost, or definitely Gimenez or Nketiah, for example. I mean, I can't really comment. I mean, I'll be honest, I've never heard of him before this rumour came about, and it does definitely, a bit like Gimenez, probably even more than Gimenez, scream a bit of a risk. And like I say, I think all of these are a bit of a panic buy at this stage because we've missed out on our top target. I'm not saying he's not good. He got nearly 30 goals last season in one season for Flamengo, who are no mugs. They're a massive club in Brazil. But I'm just not sure what to make of this one. And the last striker that we're being linked with, at least right now, because I'm sure there's going to be more that's going to come about in the next few days. I just can't wait for us to be linked with Dwight Gale again on deadline day and Michy Batshuayi. Brian Brobby, who plays for Ajax, he's 22 years of age. It wasn't a good season last season for Ajax, and obviously it's another Eredivisie club that we're linked with in terms of a striker, so we clearly seem to have faith in them over there. It wasn't a good season last season for Ajax, but he did score 18 goals for them, which is very impressive, to be honest, and 49 goals overall. And again, I don't like to just reel off stats, but when it's a player that you don't know all that much about, it's probably a good way of at least somewhat gauging what they can do, at least for their current club. He's played 3 times for the Netherlands, and what I find quite funny and also quite sad is he went to the Euros this summer and he played quite literally 1 minute the whole time, and that was against England in the very last minute. So he had a good tournament. I'm not sure how much this one would cost. Out of all these, probably because I know the most about him, and I generally think that would be the best option, it would be Yoane Wissa, because he actually is used to this division already and got 3 seasons behind him. And I don't think that completely defines whether a player is good enough or not to play for you. Not at all. We've signed a lot of players away from the Premier League and have done okay, and done well in fact. But I just think it's a bit more of a risk, especially at this stage of the window. Do you really want to be gambling on somebody who clearly wasn't your first choice and isn't proven in this division at the very least? Now, there are still a few players that Forest probably should be moving on, namely Emmanuel Dennis, Hwang, Josh Bowler, and one of those are currently being linked with a move away, and I'm sure the other 2 could very well move too. But Josh Bowler being linked with a move to Preston. Hull City also interested in him as well. So this is probably going to be, all but certainly happening. Perfect for the Championship. It's a shame we've never actually seen him play for us properly, because he looked quite good in pre-season at the very least against Chesterfield. And he scored against them, but can't really read anything into that. But no competitive games for Forest in 3 seasons is just sad, really. He was definitely signed as like a emergency option if we got relegated in that first season. Even he's been loaned out 3 times to Cardiff last season, Blackpool again, and Olympiacos. So he's been about a bit. He probably wants a permanent home at this stage for his own good and his own career. So somewhere like Preston, Hull, he was actually at Hull previously a few years ago. Yeah, I think any of those would be a good move and they could do with him. Not sure if it would be permanent or loan. I think Forest probably will want to move him on permanently at this stage, and I have seen one report say that we would favour that. So let's just wait and see on that one, but that is an outgoing that is being rumoured. So that's all I've got at the moment on transfers, but there's going to be so much more, and as I say, on deadline day I will be reviewing it all, and probably next week as well actually I'll be doing some stuff looking at it all. So stay tuned to the channel. Please like and subscribe to Rads if you're new. It goes a very long way, and I'll see you soon. 2 vlogs coming up this week, Newcastle and Wolves, both of course at the world famous City grounds, so I'm looking forward to both of these. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about it all, and yeah, up the Reds. Thank you.